Hello my dear students, welcome back to another online class. In this video, we are going to learn about tenses. But before entering directly into tenses, it is necessary to know about something. Just like SVO. What is SVO? Have you heard SVO in your life? You have been learning English since first standard. So, have you heard that the term SVO? Have you heard? Yes, you have heard it. What is SVO? SVO is the structure of basic English sentences. SVO is the structure of basic English sentences. Every English sentences has this structure, SVO. There must be SV. This necessary, and O is some sentences have no object or O. So here, SVO is the structure of basic English sentences, and where S stands for the subject, V stands for the verb, and O stands for the object. That is what you have to learn before entering directly into tenses. And let's study SVO in detail. What is the subject? What is the subject in a sentence? The subject is nothing but who or what performs the action. The performer of the action is called the subject, or in short, yes. For example, Praveen called me. Praveen is my friend. Praveen called me. Praveen called me. And who is the performer? Who is performed the verb, the action called here? Yes, Praveen performed the action called here. That means Praveen is the subject in this sentence. Praveen is the subject because Praveen is the person who performed the action called. That means Praveen is the subject in this sentence. Clear? Okay, then what is verb or V? What is verb or V? A verb is what subject does. What the subject does. In the example, Praveen called me, we identify that Praveen is the subject. Okay, so here verb is what subject does. What Praveen does here? Yes, he called. Okay, then verb is what subject does or talks about an action. Verb talks about an action. Verb talks about an action. That means, for example, Radhika invited him. Radhika invited him. What is the subject does? Here we can say Radhika is the subject here because the invited is the perform done by Radhika. That means Radhika is the subject, and what she does, she invited somebody. She invited. That means it talks. Verbs talks about an action. We already says that verbs talks about an action. So here invitation. Invited is the action. That means invited is the verb in this sentence, and we can say Praveen called me. In this sentence, called is the verb because Praveen does called. Praveen does what? Praveen called me. So Praveen called me. In this sentence, called is the verb. We can say called is the verb. So clear? Is this clear? Okay. Then what is object? What is object or O? Object, a person or thing that is affected by the action of a verb. An object is a person or thing that is affected by the action of a verb. For example, teacher called me. Teacher called me. Okay, let's examine this sentence. Here, teacher called me. So we know who or what performed the action is called subject. So what may be the subject in this sentence? Yes, here we can say a perform. An action we can see an action here. What is that? Called. Called is an action. That means it's a verb. And who performed this action here? Yes, teacher. That means teacher is the subject here. And Here, a person or thing that is affected by the action of a verb is called what? Object. That means called is the verb here. The action of a verb. Then who is affected by the action of a verb here? That means called. Yes, me is affected. Me is affected by the action of the verb. That means affected by the action of the action called. That means me is the object here. And you can easily find out an object. How? Simply ask the question what or whom. What or whom, then you can easily find out the direct object in a sentence. That means called. What called? No answer. Whom called? Whom called? What is the answer? Whom did call or whom called? Yes, me is the answer. So we can say me is the direct object in this sentence. This is the way to find out subject, verb, object in a sentence. Also, what is subject? We know that. Who perform or what perform the action is called a subject. And subject may be he, she, it, you, we, they, Rahul, book, etc. Subject may be like he, she, it, you, we, they, Rahul, book, etc. And you know that every verb has three forms, major three forms. V1, V2 and V3. For example, go, went, gone. Go is the base form or V1 of the verb go. Went is the V2 form of the verb go. And gone is the V3 form of the verb go. Right? Every verb has these three major forms. Go, went, gone. And in addition to these three forms, there are two forms. What is that? Yes, the ing form and s form of the verb. For example, we know that go, went, gone. You can say go is the V1, went is the V2 and gone is the V3 form of the verb go. And in addition to that, going and goes is also here. Going and goes. In this order V1, V2, V3 we can say going, ing form of the verb V4 and s form of the verb V5. So there are 5 forms to a verb. You have to keep in your mind. There are 5 forms to a verb. Fly, flew, flown, flying and flies. Keep, kept, kept, keeping and keeps. Work, worked, worked, working and works. Okay, we have learned all these forms and I have given you a list of these verbs. Right? You have to read and memorize by heart that all verbs. Okay? Then we can easily study the tenses. Okay? Okay, let's move on to the next topic. The next topic that we are going to take before entering into tense is auxiliary verbs or otherwise called helping verbs. In English, there are 24 auxiliary verbs and these 24 auxiliary verbs are divided into two types. Primary auxiliary verbs and modal auxiliary verbs. And if you can use these 24 auxiliary verbs correctly in your sentence, you are perfect in English. That means you are perfect in English. So let's look at which are the auxiliary verbs. The primary auxiliary verbs are do, does, did, am, is, are, was, were, has, have and had. We can include all these primary auxiliary verbs in 3 families. Do, does, did is the do family, and am, is, are, was, were is called the be family, and has, have, had is called the has family. Okay, then modal auxiliary verbs. Modal auxiliary verbs are 13 in number. They are will, would, shall, should, can, could, may, might, must, need, dare, used to, and ought to. And in all the tenses, we are going to use these auxiliary verbs in different forms. If we are able to, if you can use all these auxiliary verbs correctly with the correct verbs, you can easily study the tenses. You can easily study the tenses, and you know that I will be there with you to study all these things. Okay? Okay, then just have an introduction to the tense. Tense is a form of verb that indicates the time or state of an action and event. Tense is the form of verb that indicates the time or state of an action and event. That is what tense. And tense or the verbs come in three tenses. The verbs come in three tenses. They are present, past, and future. We have a present tense, past tense, and future tense, and all these three tenses further classified into four types, different categories: simple, continuous, perfect, and perfect continuous. That means there are 3 into 4, 12 types of tenses are there. 12 categories of tenses are there. That means present simple, present continuous, present perfect, present perfect continuous. Again, past simple, past continuous, past perfect, past perfect continuous. Future simple, future continuous, future perfect, and future perfect continuous. That means there are 12 tenses. 12 different types of tenses are there, and these 12 tenses gives different meaning. So in the next video onwards, we are going to start all these tenses, and we will start with the, as usual, present simple. In the next video, we are going to study the simple present or the present simple tense in English. Till then, bye.